This is Sean from Cambridge, Ontario.
I'm Terry from Cornwall, Ontario.
Hey, this is Larry from Big Meadows, British Columbia, and you're listening to the Towing Life Podcast.
Welcome to the Towing Life Podcast, where the ditches are deep, the trucks are loaded, but the drivers are not. I'm your host, TowManG, and as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, friend, and former co-worker, the one Jane Wonder himself, the man with very strong opinions, Mr. PlainGuy.
What is going on, G? What is going on?
We're live.
We are. We have promised that we would do a live episode. It took a long time to put together, but here we are. We are live. We are happy to be here. Hope you guys are happy to join us. Before we get too far into the episode, it is a great time to mention the people that made this live episode possible. We've got the wonderful people over at TowSoft. I use TowSoft. I'm telling you, their application is a game changer. One of the best dispatching systems I've ever ran. And also the amazing people over at Tow Canada magazine. If you haven't checked them out before, they have magazines every 2 months, I believe it is. They're covering everything in the towing industry. Very similar to the way we are, but they do it in a digital form. It's awesome. They're always doing all kinds of great things. So be sure to check out both those sponsors. We will have a giveaway later in the show. Courtesy of them, there is a subscription to Tow Canada magazine. They're giving away 2 subscriptions, so we will draw 2 of those once we get started with that, guys. Yeah, we'll ask you to put hashtag Tow Canada or hashtag TowSoft in the chat. We'll let you know when, and from there you'll be entered into the draw. We'll draw them right on the show, so be sure to hang out for that. We do have a couple things to get to today. We did get some topics ready for you guys, and as well as we want to hear from you on what you're looking for.
Yeah, and this time it's live. Just type it down in the chat and we'll get to your questions, comments, or concerns at some point in this video. We might not be right on the ball. Just you know how we get into it, right? So if we don't get to you right away, just hold with us and we'll scroll through the chat when we get a breather.
Absolutely. We have that squirrel mentality at times where, we get, hey, we got a plan. This is what we're going to talk about. And we end up so far off track that it isn't believable, but that's just the way it goes. So guys, before we get started too, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, as you were saying, you can put them right there in the live chat. If you weren't able to make it to the live show today, this will be replaying on Tuesday when our new episodes come out. You can message us. I will throw it up on the screen. I almost forgot. You can find us at www.towinglife.ca. You can email us at thetowinglife@gmail.com, or you can go at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. You can also call us at 249-666-2209. If you're watching the replay over on Facebook, there's always the option to leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe. If you are watching today over on Facebook, welcome. We've got Facebook, we've got YouTube. We are live in both places. Yep. I already see one. I may be in Oregon, but I want one of those subscriptions. Well, you'll get your chance later on in the show. I guarantee you, Trent. Everyone's going to have a chance to win. Hopefully we can give, I'd like to see some Americans win a Tow Canada
Canadian towing magazine that we've got.
I just feel bad. I shit on the Americans most of the time. Not that I shit on you guys. I make jokes. I pick at you, the buck in Canadian terms, that's $1. So I'd like to see some of you guys win on that.
Yeah, but the digs that you have on the States is normally digs at ourselves.
Yeah, that is fair. Talking about your crap internet and your igloo and everything else.
Yeah. Live under a rock apparently. Yeah.
So far, G's internet hasn't crashed when we played the intro video, so that is slightly amazing.
Yeah, we're already doing better than what was expected of me. So I set my expectations low to avoid disappointment. And so far, we're there.
Absolutely. So if at any point we do lose G or myself, don't worry. The other one or the other will come on back. This is our first time going live. We did not, although G, I know you wanted to do testing and to do everything else. We did none of the sorts.
No.
We did absolutely nothing. So if we run into technical difficulties, bear with us.
Blame him.
Blame me for not wanting to do any testing. I'm all for that. So first thing that I want to get into today, G, it is my favorite part of the show. It has slowly become my favorite part of the show. Yeah. Mainly because it gets to test your morals, and your morals are questionable at best. So
that's valid.
We will start off this wonderful live episode with our favorite game, which is how much of a dick is TowManG? G. Oh no, it restarted too late. See, these are the technical difficulties we talk about. Oh, now it's not going to load. We're having a good time. We're off to a flying
You're doing
start.
great, playing.
How much of it is TowManG?
There you go.
There we
Better
got
late
it to
than
work.
never.
We got it to work. So, how much of a dick is TowManG? If you haven't listened before, this is a game that we've played the last couple episodes. We ask G moral questions to determine on a scale how much of an asshole he actually is. He doesn't know the questions ahead of time. I purposely keep it that way because it makes his reactions more genuine. He doesn't have time to think about it, and especially on a live episode where he can't take it out. So
yeah.
So, G,
if this is bad, you guys, and you watch the episode next Tuesday, this part might be cut out, and those people just not know. That's why we wanted you guys here in the live stream, you know?
So I like to make it something, G, that we all as towers encounter. These weird situations. Last week was the lady with the flat tires. Would you change all of her tires? This is one that I know we have both had because we have talked about it before. Maybe not on the air, but on one of our many thousand phone calls we have with each other.
Oh, boy.
Okay. So let me lay out the scenario for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the middle of wintertime. It's minus 40 outside. It is freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to take a dig at the Americans, but I don't know what minus 40 converts to. Actually, it converts to minus 40. So it's cold. It's cold. A couple guys listening from Oregon, Wisconsin, they understand. The towers down in Florida are like, what's minus 40?
What's so minus? Yeah. Is that like my taxes? Yes.
So it's middle of winter. Okay. And it's freezing cold outside. This customer hops in your truck. You're going on an 1.5-hour ride. Mm-hmm. Now, this customer, and we've all encountered this, stinks. Whether it be body odor, whether it be whatever it is, this customer stinks.
Yep.
So you keep trying, as we've all done, you put the window down, you try and, get some fresh air going. And every time that you do, the customer complains that they're cold. You've got the heat cranked, everything else. What do you do? Do you tell this customer? Do you just ride with the window down and screw what that guy says? What do you do?
Well, in my tow truck I've got seat heaters. So I would make sure those are turned on first, the ass warmers. Downfall is if they fart, it might not be so good. But I would come to I would leave the window down just enough to where they're not complaining at me constantly.
As soon as you crack that window, they complain. It's too windy, it's too cold, it's too anything. Either the windows are going down, you're ignoring your customer, or the windows are going up and you are bearing an 1.5 hours of wretched.
Well, as most of you know, if you're outside working, jumping into a hot truck doesn't bode well for you. And I would state to them like, listen, I'm hot already. I need to cool down. I'm a very warm person to begin with. The girlfriend thinks I'm her personal heater. And we either need to have the heat turned down a little bit or I need to have a window open so we can push all the vents to you. But I need to be fairly comfortable to drive safely. Right? So
I think that's very reasonable.
I'm not going to go right out and say, you stink. You need to have a shower. I don't give a fuck about the bad situation that you put yourself in to be on the back of my tow truck. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to make it so it's my comfort and my well-being to get us both there safely.
I think that is pretty reasonable of an answer. I actually just seen Cassie come up with some reason why you need the windows down. Like, I need the window down so windows don't fog up. It's too warm in here, kind of like what you said. Yeah. I think that's a great thing. Or another excuse you give, something like the windows don't go up all the way. Yeah. Once I hit the button, it's broken. I mean,
but you got to be careful about saying like, the defroster doesn't work on my truck, and that's why we got to leave the windows down, because that's a safety thing, right? That needs to work. If anyone knows anything about commercial vehicles,
I mean, how many times though have we given a customer some weird reason for something?
Yeah,
right. Animals,
just pull something right out of your butt, right?
Yeah, you just pull some random thing out. They don't know the difference. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what your policies are. So. Yeah. You could definitely make it work, but
my biggest thing is towing things on the wheel lift, right? If you get into if someone rear ends you while you're towing something, the car that you're towing and the vehicle that hit it, that's their insurance. Unless the car that you're towing hits your truck, you stay out of it. So that's my go-to line. Yeah. Is if something seems sketchy, I was like, does this car have insurance on it? personally, I'd like to get a picture of the ownership and the insurance, especially if I'm going far or into a place where I know that has bad drivers, right? Because if something does happen, I want to make sure I have that information on hand to give to the officer when they show up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Sorry, I'm seeing we're getting a complaint. There's no audio over on the YouTube side. I see we got a couple listeners from audio. It's working on this end, so maybe reset the YouTube, go from there. Again, we may experience some technical difficulties, but we will work through it. A couple answers we're getting. What if they crop themselves in an accident?
Ooh.
I've never ran into that one. I have ran into we got a call from one time from the police for a tow. And the gentleman was, I don't know if he was paraplegic or quadriplegic. He was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
So we had to lift him up into our flatbed tow truck, which was a whole predicament on its own. And he had a catheter. And I believe during the tow, the catheter had actually come out. So there was piss on the floor of the truck. And it was one of the most awkward. That's one of those situations you don't really bring it up. The guy's embarrassed already. Same with this guy that if he crapped himself when he got into an accident, can you imagine the embarrassment that guy is already going through?
To be honest with you, I would probably try to avoid that situation entirely. Like if I could see that this gentleman has crapped himself on the side of the road after being in an accident, I would say, oh, well, I'm not taking this car to his house. I would need to arrange alternate transportation for this gentleman or lady or whoever.
Yeah,
Because
maybe call a cab.
I've also had it where I had a elderly lady get into my truck. She had a flat tire on her car going to the Dodge dealership and it was a Hyundai. Right? I tow her car there, nothing, don't hear anything of it. I get to boost her car like a month ago, and I get there and she was like, do you know I've been in physiotherapy ever since I got out of your tow truck? I called the roadside and I wanted them to pay it because now it's like $300 a week that I have to pay. And when I got out of your tow truck, I tweaked my hip, and you guys really need to have like some sort of a step. And I said to her, I was like, well, I do have the factory running boards on the truck. And she was like, well, you need something else. And I was like, lady, like, I get what you're saying, but if I put down a stool or something to help you get in, and if you trip on that, no, I'm liable.
Yeah.
She's like, well, you need like a trailer or something that bolts on to the running board. I was like,
oh, we do this. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Customer expectations. We've talked about that before, right?
So you rolled the windows down there, Trent, and just rode with it. Didn't talk about it when he shit himself.
Yeah,
you're a better man than me.
Yeah. What else do you do in that? I know Roy's saying there's COVID, no rides allowed. That has come to an end in our area. We've started taking passengers again as the mandates and everything have lifted. So unfortunately, a lot of cases that isn't an option. Now you can leave it. We leave it up to our operators too, right? You know, COVID isn't gone anywhere. So even though the mandates are up, if you get to a customer and they're hacking up a lung and they're blowing their nose and everything, I'm going, nah, you're not coming with me. No offense.
But isn't that discrimination?
Nah, they can eat it. They can eat it. Who's really going to fight you on who in times that we're in is going to fight you on, you didn't want to take the passenger because his nose was running like crazy and he's coughing. You know what I mean? Like there's got to be a reasonable amount of, choice that goes in that the operators have some say in what they're doing kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen any court battles, or at least I haven't been heard of anything like that, but it would be definitely cool to see the outcome of something like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, G, what'd you get up to this weekend? Anything exciting?
Not too much. Just worried about this live stream. So far, so good. My internet's holding up. I've made sure everyone in my household is switched on to their data and off my Wi-Fi. And it's been pretty good. How about yourself?
We never got to start the GoFundMe to get TowManG good internet. We'll work on that for future shows. No, mine was an interesting one. I'm off this weekend. I'm at home relaxing. You get a call at 2:30 in the morning. I managed to hide some company logos so I could show you guys this. It's about 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 by the time we get there, and this is what we're looking at. That was an absolute mess on the 401. That was sticky, liquid, whatever. It was non-hazmat. First of all, let's start off with that. There was no hazmat in the load, so there was no major rush to get everything boomed up. But God, it wasn't ugly. So that was a 2:30 a.m. wake-up call. It made for a very interesting day. So yeah, I got a nice little nap in before we went live tonight because that day started early. You guys know it. It's towing. You don't know when it's coming, how it's coming. You know, it's crazy. So when you get these calls like this, these are definitely those ones you don't want to miss out on at the same time.
Yeah, the roadside. Oh, we're just 5 feet off the roadway. Should be quick and easy. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that actually came in kind of like the one I shared of the car in the ditch. That one came in as tractor trailer in the median, partially blocking a lane.
Oh,
The upside down part was, I believe, left out.
yeah. Key factor, just
Yeah. The key information, guys, is just a little pull right, should buff right out. No problem. A little bit of Bondo on that. That truck will be rolling down the highway in a week.
You might need a bit of quick start to get her running again, but she'll fire.
Roll it over, start it up, make sure the oil pressure is good, and roll on down the highway, cowboy.
Why not?
So, G, let me ask you. We have talked before about different tie down methods. We've got the 8-point tie down system, 4-point, depending on who you're talking to. There's always different views on what it's called. I call it the 8-point. It touches the bed in 8 spots.
Yeah.
You've got chaining. When it comes to chaining, an important part that has been a debate, and I think it'll continue to be a debate across the towing industry, is cross chaining versus straight chaining.
Yeah.
When you are now, my general rule, and of course, in towing, rules vary constantly. If you guys have any input on how you do this, do you cross chain? Do you straight chain? What is your personal preference? Feel free to throw it in the chat. I chain anything over normally a half ton and up. Anything with an independent frame. I like the chain. I don't like to use the wheel straps. The weight and everything. I don't feel comfortable with it. I like the chain. I have cross chained. I have straight chained. I always liked cross chaining. I always thought it was great. And we do have a video to play with a guy. You have to remind me of his name, Bleeping Jeep on YouTube.
Yep.
If you guys haven't seen him, he's got some great stuff. He really goes over cross chaining versus straight chaining and why you should avoid one or the other. Yeah, is that what you're laughing about? The comment that came in from Trent?
Because
is that a jet ski?
We brought this up just before the show, and he was like, "I really wish you had a better background." I was like, "Why? That's badass." And he was like, "But no one knows what it is." It's like, "Well, I know what it is."
And Trent also knows who it is or what it is.
That's a jet ski. The trailer had a bearing go, and there's no flatbeds around. So I said to my dispatch, "I know what I'm doing. I'll just go do it." It wasn't going far. And I didn't have a trailer hitch on that truck at a time, so I lifted it up there and sat it down.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the quick video from he does the cross chaining first on why you shouldn't cross chain. I'm seeing a lot of the chat coming up with straight chain. Straight chain seems to be the way to go. I agree. I've done both ways, but this guy explains it better than anybody. So we'll put this on. Again, this is one of our first times. I've already queued up the video, so I'll shut up so we can listen to him.
It's muted.
It's muted?
Yeah, I don't hear it.
I hear it. No sound on this end.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to mute it so you can't help. You will see that he has cross-chained it. I'll do the overlay. I don't know why the audio is not working. And he is going to cut one of the rear straps, right? So this is a perfectly cross-chained Jeep. It applies to a Jeep on a flat deck trailer. It's no different than a flatbed, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And he's going to show what happens whenever he cuts the one strap. And this is really important because I never would have thought of the travel on losing one strap. So he's going to cut it. And look how loose that thing becomes instantly.
Yeah.
Now, at first, I thought he was using rubber bands. He was using something to pull it. It seemed a little dramatic for nothing. Matthew comes in. Should have let G do the test. Thanks, Matt. Damn it.
Thank you.
So you see how quick the G. The one thing that I think we forget to mention when it comes to cross chaining is that when that one chain lets go, and I'll leave it up on the screen, when one of those rear chains lets go, that other chain that is crossed now has the ability to travel forward to straighten itself out, which kills your front chains or straps. You don't have any tension on them anymore.
It renders all other tie downs useless.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I've done it. I've rear crossed. Never would have thought of that. It seemed all right. It's pulling in and it's pulling back. It makes sense. But when you see these demonstrations like this, it really, it kind of makes you think twice about it. And what you're doing.
And especially too, like if you're using straps instead of chains, now you got a spot where they intersect and they can actually rub on each other depending on where you hook up. And the company that I've worked for previously, they hauled freight and they've got escort vehicles, and that's how they strap them to go to the States from up here in Canada.
Right.
They travel all the way across Canada and all the way down into the States to pick up freight, and they take these escort vehicles down and they've got their straps crossed.
Mm.
And I see a lot of guys where they cross chain mini X's and cross chain everything. And I've seen professionals that have been in the trucking industry for 30 plus years cross chaining things. And
Yep.
they swear that's the way, that like that's the only way to do things. Right.
Yeah, no, it's and then you see it laid out in a situation like that, and you tend to understand a little better why,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what I'll do is I'll bring it back up. I'm trying to get the audio fixed for at least our video that we have later. This one we can do without the audio.
Yeah.
But we've got an example here set up now where he's got it straight chained. See, it's showing audio on this side is live. I don't have it muted on here right now, but because I can hear the audio.
It's probably going through your headphones because you've got all your desktop audio going into your headphones.
It must be a problem on my side.
Yeah.
So here's the same thing he's doing where he's got it straight chained, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to go ahead and cut one. And you will see it, this Jeep kind of articulates, the axle articulates or turns a little bit on him. It definitely does loosen, don't get me wrong. But
it's staying on the trailer.
It's staying on the trailer.
Yeah. So in the case of a wreck, and that flips over and one chain gets destroyed out of the two or out of the four, it's still going to be there.
Absolutely.
Where if you're cross chained and you lose one form of securement, that load's gone.
Yeah.
There's no saving that load.
There's nothing. There's nothing that is going to save that load. So it is a really important point. You don't, once we've talked about this before with misinformation in the industry, some of these older guys will teach you one way to do it, and that's all you know. And you go, okay, he said this is how we do it. This is how we do it. You do it over and over and over again. And until something fails, nobody learns. And then when it fails, it ends up on YouTube. It ends up on TikTok. It ends up on Facebook. And you are the laughing stock. And, if you can save that learning curve ahead of time, I encourage it. Do you have a link to the video? Absolutely. I can post a video, the full video up in the chat right now. And that way you guys can check it out for your whole self. It is a longer video. I kind of just
selected the parts that we wanted to talk about.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Crossing chains on a flatbed or on any sort of equipment has always been a big debate, but also on like towing a trailer, right? So a bumper pull trailer, crossing the safety chains compared to having them straight to the hitch. And I know the first question that PlainGuy ever said to me, he showed up to the yard on my interview and he was like, "What's wrong with this?" And I said, "Oh, your safety chains aren't wrapped or not crossed." And he was quick to shoot me down there. But I saw a video. It was a Mustang, I think, towing a trailer on a treadmill. And they had two forms of securement from the actual trailer to the Mustang in a straight line. And once again, when they're crossed, like just the safety chains.
Okay.
And the trailer was a lot easier to control with the chains straight compared to crossed. If something came and the trailer became unhooked from the vehicle. And I'm pretty sure the actual reason why you cross them is so it catches the tongue of the trailer when it comes down.
Absolutely.
But if it's hard to control once it does catch, wouldn't it be easier just to run them straight and being able to control the vehicle safely and get it off to the side of the road? I know if it becomes delodged from the back of your vehicle, if you're towing something, you're going up Schitt's Creek without a paddle to begin with.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, it's always
I don't know.
debate.
Again, I've always been taught the cross chaining side of things. You always want to cross chain things when it comes to the safety chains on it. I know on the light duties, it's mixed. I've done a lot of, when it comes to safety chains straight. I've never done so much the crossed. I know the heavies, they all do the crossed. It does make sense, again, to catch that load, to stabilize that load. I'd like to see the video you're talking about because I can't see that vehicle being easier to control with safety chain straight compared to cross. I can't see what the mechanical reasoning is that it would do that.
I know I watched the video a couple of years back and I was like, oh, that makes sense. And those videos that you watch and you're like, oh, I'm going to remember that forever. You remember it for like a week and you forget it. Unfortunately, that's just who I am.
So here's an interesting question we got from Cass. What are your thoughts on cross-chaining the back, but using cluster straps on the front that would be angled? Okay, first of all, if no one's used these cluster straps, I know what she's referring to. I love these goddamn things. So it's a 2-inch strap, just like your wheel straps would be, but on the end of it, it's got an R hook, a mini J, T hook, and they don't normally have grabs. So I think it's those 3 hooks.
Yep.
So what you'll do is instead of using chains in a chain binder, especially when you're talking half-ton trucks, you will throw these clusters on, ratchet them tight. They're nice and easy. You know what? Throwing a mix of it, that'd be a good test to see. I'm trying to think if your back is crossed and you lose one of your backs, the same thing is going to happen. As soon as you cross one side, whether it be front or back, as soon as you lose that one, the other one has the opportunity to straighten out, travel forward. Your front clusters will become loose as well.
Yeah.
Right. Like and the same thing if you cross the front and do the back. If you lose one of those cross, now if you lose one of the front ones that are straight, I believe you'll still be okay. So you've lowered your chances from 1 chain out of 4 letting go to 1 out of 4 causing a casualty, compared to half of the chains can become an issue.
The way I look at it is, you see those 1 chain wonders out there, the one chain off the back.
Apparently
that's
what
always
you call
straight.
Me.
Right. That's always a straight chain off the back.
What has to be.
Right? It has to be, right?
If you angle it, you're gonna have a bad day.
Exactly. So in theory, that's the proper way to do it, because if you angle just one, it's not doing anything. It's just there for show, right? So if you lose the other one, if it is there, that 1 chain that's left is just there for show.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it doesn't matter what you got up front. If you're cross chain at the rear, you're kind of shit out of luck.
Well, or if you straight chain the rear and cross chain the front, it's the same theory, right? The winch obviously will play into it. And yeah, it's I'm not a big fan of, it brings up the question that Isaac just asked. What do you guys think about the 8-point tie down on a rollback? Honestly, I use it on everything that's not doesn't have a full frame. So any cars and SUVs nowadays, any unibody vehicle, I'm using that 8-point tie down.
Why are you using on things like pickup trucks?
I just don't like it. I don't know. For some reason, I don't like it. It's a personal choice. You can use it on 50. It's rated to go on 1500s. I've seen guys even on
strap normally has a working load limit of 3,300 and some odd pounds.
Yeah,
right?
and you've got the
so you
4.
put all 4 on, right?
And you don't need to have the actual rating for the entire weight of the vehicle. There's actually a percentage of the weight of the vehicle that you have to have. So it's a personal choice on why I don't use it on anything with a frame, because anything on a frame, I'd rather just chain it. It's a personal preference. But what do I think about the 8-point tie down? I think every rollback should have it. If you haven't used it before, use it. I used to have an argument with the guys whenever I got here, where I hated, they always kept the ratchets in the middle. So the rule with these is you always want the ratchets pulling opposite directions. So you would have one pulling back, one pulling forward, and same on the other side. I always kept my ratchets at both ends pulling outwards. They always set the ratchets up pulling inwards. I hated the inwards. I hated. I started using it. God, it is great. Because if you have used the 8-point tie down system before, and you do leave your ratchets at the end of the bed, and you're trying to bring a car on a weird angle or a bit of a wide vehicle, you're constantly unhooking those ratchets, moving them out of the way so you don't run over the ratchets.
Yeah.
If you keep them in the middle, they're still doing the same job. They're pulling opposite directions, but you have time to get it up on the bed and straightened out on your bed before you're running over the ratchets. More often than not, you don't actually have to unhook them when you have a little bit wider of a vehicle, because you have the room to steer it between them.
So I got a question here, because most of the companies I've ever been with, they've run both the ratchets, like the actual straps at the front, right? So you're ratcheting the front strap to the front, and you're ratcheting the rear strap to the front as well. And in theory, if you've got these 8-point tie downs, you've got your dog bone in the middle, you're pulling down and forward, but you're also in all 4 corners. So why does it really matter which way your ratchet's facing?
It is true. It bites the tire either way, but I'll tell you, here's a perfect, if you want to do it on one wheel to do a test, right? Rule of thumb, winch the vehicle up onto the bed. You throw your first one on. That's your safety, right? And then normally I bring the bed, level it out or close to level gently, and I do the other ones. So here's a test you can do. Roll that vehicle up onto the bed, put the left front wheel strap on with the ratchet at the front. Bring your bed level, up against your headache rack, see what happens. That vehicle will slightly move forward because it is actually pulling it that way. Flip your ratchets around the other way. Put your ratchet in the middle. Pull that vehicle on, put it on. You're now slightly pulling backwards. Go up. You will notice the vehicle will not roll as much when you get that little frontwards moment, like momentum, or that little, when you hit the headache rack when the bed stops. You won't get much movement on it when they're in the middle.
Yeah.
In
the grand scheme of things,
you
it's
are
not
still
really
pulling more in one direction than the other is the reality of it.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, doing it with all 4 ratchets pulling the same way, it's still going to be fastened to the bed.
Absolutely. But yeah, you want it, again, you normally they say put them opposites. The middle has worked out. I shit on them for a long time because I was always taught, all 4 corners plus. It was just being efficient. You pull that vehicle on, the one is right there. You're hooking it on, you're ratcheting it, you bring the bed up and level. You're now at the back one, you're hooking it, you're done, you're moving around to the other side.
Yeah, especially if you're leaving your straps on the deck, which the people who take them off every time, you're probably not towing too many cars in the day because that's a lot of work. And if you are towing a lot of cars in the day, kudos to you. And if you're quick and efficient with it, keep doing whatever you're doing. I don't want to razz on you because your straps are definitely going to look better than ours, but it's just a lot of time.
So I wanted to point this out from Brandon because this has been a theme that I have seen before as well. And by no means are we any, know-it-alls that know everything about towing. All I can give you is my experience on things that I've tried and things that have gone wrong and things that have gone right. So an 8-point on the front driver's side wheel and 1 on the passenger side rear. So 2 instead of all 4 sides. So you're running left front, right rear. There's 2 straps holding that vehicle. In theory, you're stopping it from going front to back. The problem is the side to side is where you run into the issue with that, Brandon. Because if you hit a bump and that vehicle will twist because it is only pulling those 2 corners and you can loosen off both your straps on one good bump. Ask me how I know. Because I have tried that before, clearing off in an emergency. Took I think it was a right outside of a ramp. It was in the middle of winter time. Keep in mind, snow on the bed, aluminum. There's always a little bit less, resistance on those tires sitting on that. But that vehicle actually did pivot a little bit and loosened off both those straps. So I would not recommend that.
In bare minimum, you want to at least have 3 out of the 4 8-point tie downs. And most times you can get away with 2. You can. I've seen guys get away with none, right? And as stupid as it may be, they get away with it. And so 2 is better than none. 3 is better than 2, and 4 is better than 3. Right? It's all about the risk you're willing to take in that moment in time. If I'm in a live lane, I'm going to get 2 straps on it as quickly as possible, opposite
and get
sides,
off the highway,
opposite corners, get out of that dangerous situation, right?
Yeah.
Keep that winch tight too, just for that short little trip. I know it's not going to go anywhere. The general public have no clue anyways. And that one MTO officer or MOE or whoever might know something. But if you explain yourself and like, listen, I was just getting off the off ramp and I'm
to a safe
stopping
location,
here.
100%. And then once you're there, you're either putting, and I've seen it. Yeah, you are right. The 3, right? Left front, left rear, right rear. Right? I get it. Here's the question though. For the extra 30 seconds it takes, and once you get, handy at these things, and if you keep them lubed and keep them ready to go, how much longer is it actually taking you to put 2 more on? I mean, we've timed it before. You're in and out on a flatbed on a regular hookup. I'm not talking traffic whizzing by, loading it on a 90-degree. If you're just pulling that thing up on a shoulder, up onto your bed, you are in and out in less than 5 minutes. What are you going to save by doing the 2, right? That's where a lot of it comes down to. We think, yes, okay, we need to be fast. You can be fast and be efficient at the same time. And I think a lot of it is finding that.
Yeah. Don't worry, David. We're only halfway through. You haven't missed much.
You haven't missed much.
You can, if you've just joining us now, thanks for being here. And if whatever you've missed today, you can rewatch it on Tuesday.
Absolutely. It'll go live on the YouTube again on Tuesday. It'll be available on Spotify, Amazon Music. If you guys don't know, you guys watching over on YouTube, we are available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Stitcher. I got a whole list of places. Anywhere that you can listen to music pretty well or podcast, we are available. Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, Podchaser, Pod Addict, Podcast Index, Player FM, Deezer, iHeartRadio, Stitcher. We're everywhere. So if you haven't...
If anyone in the chat right now wants us to talk about a specific topic, put it in the chat now and we'll save it. And we can double back on it. We've got a couple other things we want to get to before we've got the actual Q&A section lined up and the viewer topics. So think of a good one, put it down in there, and we'll double back to it as soon as we can.
Yeah. So what we will do, guys, is we get into, as we mentioned earlier, the wonderful folks over at Tow Canada magazine were nice enough to donate two subscriptions for a year subscription of their magazine. We are going to draw them now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull something up onto the screen. Once I do, you guys don't do it yet. You got to wait. You'll see it at the bottom. Hashtag Tow Canada. Don't put it in yet. Once we pull it up, you can start entering Tow Canada, and you'll be entered into the draw. We will take two winners. We'll do it once, and then we'll do it again. So I'm going to pull that. It's going to pull. We are going to, again, not have technical difficulties. There it is. So, guys, before you get a chance, hashtag Tow Canada G. Do not write it in. You can't win. That would be cheating.
Oh, come on. I want to win something.
I want to win. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, it doesn't matter. If you are watching the replay on Tuesday, unfortunately, don't start typing hashtag Tow Canada into your magazine or into your phone. It will do you no good.
So do hashtag Tow Canada down there. We've got Logan. He's entered already. We've got one on screen there. So just do exactly what those three people have done.
There you go. We'll give it a couple minutes to run. We'll let everyone an opportunity to get in. Again, hashtag Tow Canada. The wonderful people at Tow Canada magazine were nice enough to donate a couple subscriptions, and we wanted to give them to you guys. Thank you, Tow Canada, for everything you've done. They featured an article on our podcast a couple months ago. That was great. They did a wonderful job.
4 pages and something on the front page too, which is just awesome.
Yeah, it was very humbling. That was in our very early days of the podcast too. We've come a long way. I'm going to save that one comment for later, Isaac. I like it.
I got a good story on that happened last week too.
Your favorite customers?
12 entries so far.
13. They're going. Keep going, guys. Hey, we can see who's watching. There's 21 of you. Come on. I want to see at least the 21 hashtag Tow candidates. The people that have already entered are like, no, just draw it now. It's all good. I like my chances. I like my chances. We'll give it about another minute or so. But yeah, no, it's and guys, that's the one thing that we kind of want to take the opportunity to tell you guys. Like, yes, we say what we've been through, right? You see a lot of guys that are on social media. There's all kinds of stuff going around where it's like, I'm a tow god. I'm this. You know what I mean? You're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. We just give our best experience. That's what this show has been about since the beginning. It is towers. We are towers. I go out towing every day. G goes out towing almost every day. He's more part-time.
Yeah. I still put in 88 hours every 2 weeks. So
that's part-time. Yeah, that is part-time.
But yeah, right. We've only got the experiences of us two, right? And our coworkers that we're allowed to tell their stories to, right? So everyone's got their own experiences, and we're just working with what we got,
Absolutely. All right, so we're gonna draw the first of the Tow Canada subscriptions. So I'll just let it do its thing, and we'll go from there. Here we go. It's got everybody. It's going through all the names. Where does it stop? Nobody knows. Oh, Lillian, I think you got in a little late, but it should hopefully grab you for the next one. Kyle Stackhouse, listening over on Facebook. Kyle, I'm just going to write you down here. Congratulations. What I'm going to do is after this show, if you want to, after the show, send a message to the page. I've got your name written down here. We'll get your mailing info, and we will have Tow Canada send that off directly to you. Lillian, I think you're okay. We went up to the 16 entries right after you entered. I don't know if you were in that draw, but looks like you are in this one. Kyle, where are you listening from? Well, we've got you. Where are you listening from?
Hopefully he didn't leave as soon as he won. He was like, perfect, I'm out. I got what I needed.
Yeah, they're still coming later on. I'm hoping I can get this audio issue fixed for the TowSoft video because it does have audio to it. TowSoft has put up a $50 Amazon gift card that we will be drawing a little later on. Kyle coming out of Woodstock, Ontario. I've been there once or twice.
Yep, a couple times. Just across the pond,
Just across the pond. Oh yeah, I guess you don't have a lake between them. Where do you think Woodstock is? Pretty sure Woodstock's out by Cambridge.
Yeah, there's a lake in between me and there.
No, there isn't.
Yeah. Yeah, sure.
You're so full of it. You are so full of it. Well,
If you get a
congratulations,
bird's eye
Kyle.
view of where my ass is sitting right now to Woodstock, Ontario, there's a lake.
Trent says, strange to not be listening to this in the truck and on Tuesday. I like it. I wish you did more than one show a week. I have heard that more than once, Trent. We both tow full time. We don't have time to do more than one show a week. I'd
We were
love to do
planning
it.
on recording a podcast for next week earlier on today, and he had a rollover this morning, so he had a nap.
Yeah, so I had to
That
take a
shot
nap.
that
So
to hell.
all right, we're gonna draw the second one. Cassie says it's near London. All right, that was close enough. London's close to Cambridge. We'll call it close enough. Dave's listening from Kingston, Ontario. All right, one more time. Who do we got second time around? I did see Lillian. I did see her name in it that time. It went by, and it might land on it. It's gonna get close. Trent, speaking of strange not to be listening in your truck. Well, Trent, good news is you may not have more episodes to listen to, but you will have a wonderful magazine to read.
Don't read while driving, though, please.
Yeah, they do not have an audiobook version of it.
You can listen to us while you're driving. Just don't read it while driving, please.
That actually works out great. I'm really happy we managed to get one winner from YouTube, one winner from Facebook. It was kind of a nice touch.
Yeah.
So yeah, Trent, you are listening or watching over on the YouTube side. So if you want, what you can do is send us an email. I'll run the banner at the bottom. Can you message? You're the YouTube guru. Can you message the YouTube?
No, you can't.
You cannot message the YouTube. So Trent, if you want to send, there's a bunch of ways that you can contact us running across the bottom of the screen. Email, everything like that. If you want to reach out to us in one of those ways, we will be sure to get one of those magazines out to you, courtesy of Tow Canada Magazine and the amazing people over there.
Yeah. It's absolutely awesome that these guys came out to sponsor our live stream, and we love working with them, and thankfully they like working with us.
We got it in the States. Oh, for the American listeners too, if you guys are listening on Facebook, YouTube, whatever it is, Facebook only on the US mobile allows you to listen to the podcast right off the Facebook page. It still is not working in Canada. I tried testing it the other day. It doesn't work. I'm Trent's ride along. Oh, well, perfect. You can read it to Trent while you are riding along.
You get your own personal audiobook. Hopefully you like their voice.
We don't have to give Trent the audiobook. Trent can, or Lillian can read it to Trent. That is perfect. That is perfect. Oh man. So, there is a topic that came up that I did star somewhere up there, and I like.
Yeah, it's from Isaac. How about the customer that wants to put the car in neutral before you get down to hook it up? Yes,
we see the memes all the time. Anyone who drives a flatbed feels that pain. Absolutely feels that pain.
I had a call the other day, and it made me like it made my head hurt. Okay. I get there and I'm in a wrecker, right? So there's no need for the car to even be in neutral. Side of the road, right? This lady's got a ride there, and I get out and I ask her what's wrong with the car, and she was like, "Oh, are you mechanically inclined? Are you going to fix my car?" I was like, "Well, I'd like to know what's wrong with it." And it was making a loud noise. I was like, "Oh, it sounds like your exhaust manifold came off, or you spit a spark plug out," because it was popping and banging and chugging.
Yep.
So I get the wheel lift down after arranging everything with her, saying that this is what's going to happen. This is how we do things. And I back up to the car, and
ignore that.
And I get out, and she gets out of her car again, and she was like, "Well, the lady on the phone told me to put it in neutral before you get here, but I can't get my key out." I was like, "What do you mean they told you on the phone to have your car in neutral?" She was like, "Yeah, they asked me if I could get it." I was like, "Did they ask if the car can go into neutral?" She was like, "No, she told me to put it in neutral." I was like, "What?" There is no way the other person on the roadside end should tell the customer to put the car in neutral way before the tow truck gets here. Thankfully, it was on a flat, sandy shoulder of the road, so the car didn't roll away. But this woman was freaking out, saying, "Oh, I can't get the key out of the car because it's in neutral." I was like, "No, just put it in park." She was like, "Is that going to damage anything?" I was like, "No. I'm picking up your front tires on a front-wheel drive car. Everything's going to be fine."
I get it that they don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like the little bit of common sense. Either they're on a hill or I'm about to lay under your front tire
Mhm.
to hook something up.
I get
Why would I
asked
want
all
that
the
vehicle
time.
able to roll?
Just before I'm about to back into their vehicle, they ask me, "Oh, do you want it in neutral?" Or they tell me, "Oh, it's in neutral." Or I've already backed into their car and they're like, "It's in neutral." Uh, That would have been nice to say before I backed into your car.
You
Oh,
had
I
that
didn't
when we
think of
worked
that.
together with a Jeep, if I remember right, that the parking brake didn't hold and the drive shaft had let go, and you backed into the Jeep to pin up with your wrecker and it rolled away.
So this was like a week in to me towing by myself, getting out of training with this guy. And first
I take
snowstorm, I was
no
like, "Oh boy.
responsibility, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, this is going to be great." So I show up to this Jeep parked precariously on this snow-covered hill, and there's two people with it, and they live 2 kilometers back the way I came, and the vehicle was going about 30 kilometers in the opposite direction. So I said to them, "I'll drive you home first, right? So then you get a ride home. I'll come back and load the vehicle and take it away." Seems reasonable enough. I drive
I
them
love
home.
this.
I come back. I look at the car, look inside the window because I was diligent or due diligent. I make sure the
Doing
car
your
was in
due
park,
diligence.
e-brake
I
was on,
got you.
right? Car was in park, e-brake on. Good, cool. Backed up to the car with the wheel lift down, barely bumped into it. Barely bumped into it. Now this Jeep decides I don't want to stay here anymore and proceeded to roll. And I, being the smart guy I am, a week in, thinking, "Oh, I got to get out and jump on the brakes." So I jam my truck in park and I start running down this snow covered hill. I get to the driver's door. I get the door open. By this time, we're going at a jogging pace and picking up speed. And I'm like, I'm going
And
to die if I lose my footing here. So I just slammed the door shut, watched it cross over the road and go down into the ditch, and I just turned away and started walking back to the truck thinking, I'm fired. I'm done. I'm a weekend. I'm done. I'm just done.
I always love that story. That story never gets old. It was such a good learning curve.
I get into the truck and I called you.
Mm.
I was like, this is what happened. What do I do? And he was like, is there any damage? So I back the truck down and I look around, and the Jeep stopped like 2 feet before a metal culvert. And I looked around and I said, no, there's no damage. And he was like, well, pull out of the damn ditch and get on with it. I was like, I can do that. So I pulled it out of the ditch and I got on with it. When I dropped it at the shop where it was going, I was like, get me a block of wood. This thing just rolls. There is nothing that holds it here. And we chalked the tires. And, yeah.
Oh man, I no, it's true. Like the customers don't know better. But
Yeah.
I had seen a comment that came up. Even the wrecker guys get asked, and oh my god, I love that one. You're
Yeah.
picking up this guy's 92 Pontiac Sunfire. I don't know if they made. I think they had Sunfires 92. Anyways, you're hooking up this Sunfire. You've got it picked up in your wheel lifter. You're about to lift it, and they go, "You want me to put it in neutral?" Why? I mean, I've heard people will put it in neutral only for the parking pin because of the way the wheel actually turns. It's not the worst idea, but for
No.
the most part, or when you're dollying it, right, you want it in neutral, right?
Yeah.
No, it can stay in, like, all four wheels are up in the air stationary. There's no wheels rolling. We do not need it in neutral. But but it is true. I like Cass's sure, or Jonathan, sorry, sure, you can put it in neutral, but I'm only bringing the winch cable to where your car was when you showed up. It's up to you if it rolls farther into the ditch before I hook up. In G's case, it was up to G because he's the one that put it back there.
Yeah. Yeah. But
And yeah, Trent coming in, no, stay away from the car. That is something that is called experience, Trent.
yeah.
The first car that rolls around away from you, your first instinct is to chase it.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's not more than one car that rolls away from you, but
Yeah. There's only the one.
you're not going to stop it. You know what? You are not going to do anything that is going to get you to stop that car. We have one question here that I want to get. What advice can you guys give to new towers in relationships to help keep them strong? Marry a woman like my wife. That is my answer. Marry a woman like my wife because she will definitely she keeps you strong. G's laughing because we won't get into it. But that's actually a serious question,
Yeah.
right? That is a serious question. Any of you guys in new relationships, how many of you have lost a relationship because of towing? Right? It is a pain in the ass job to keep your other half happy.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in towing, you run a podcast show every week. You got all these other little side projects on the go. But no, that is a tough one. Lie, cheat, and steal. That is a famous line that I was told by a gentleman in a ruck master class.
Yeah.
Lie, cheat, and steal. Lie with the ones you lie with the ones you love at night. There we go. Wow. Cheat death every day and steal time away from this industry before it consumes you.
Yeah.
And that is probably the most important. I see too many guys come in young, gung-ho. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to do it all. I'm going to work these crazy hours. I'm going to go, 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 go. You will realize over time that you need to take a little bit of time away. So I think that is, take a little time away, focus on things. I am one that I expect the best out of my operators, but at the same time, you got to understand that they have a life. They have responsibilities.
I think it's also the person that you're with. Myself, I take a lot of satisfaction in the little things, right? And when you're in this industry, you only have time for the little things, right? You take your significant other with you on a tow, a long tow, whatever. You call that your date night, right?
Yep.
You're going on a long tow, 200-300 kilometers, 150 miles, whatever the case may be. And what's the difference of getting back in an hour and a half or 2 hours? Stop and get something to eat, as long as you're not super swamped back in town, wherever you go, as long as it's okay with your dispatch. I'm not just saying take their truck for a joyride. But do little things like that. Like me and the girlfriend, we've gone to the Niagara Falls, I think twice now, both times in a wrecker. And I've been to the falls 3 times, and every time it's been in a tow truck, right? And it's little things like that that just puts a smile on both your faces, and it's memories you can share together, right?
Absolutely. A strong woman helps in this business. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. The first article. So before the Tow and Life podcast, before the whole PlainGuy thing, before everything, I wrote an article for Tow Canada magazine, actually a wonderful sponsor today. And it was towing the relationship killer. And that's what it was, is the strain that it puts on the relationship. And it's one of the things that business owners don't calculate is the hours that we're asked to do and the stuff we're asked to do sometimes, how much of a strain it can have on our personal relationships. So no, absolutely. Having a strong woman is very important. That's why I said, unfortunately, there's only one of my wife and I already married her. So you guys are out of luck.
And it's not even just as much the operators, it's also the owners of said company too. I know, like, we're both drivers, so we focus on the driver side of things, but you also got to think about it as a company and a business side of things. Running any sort of business is always hard on a relationship, especially if you're in it 50-50, right? And we see a lot of tow companies shut down just because the husband and wife that own the company have fallen apart because the industry has driven them apart, whether the husband is in a tow truck himself running every day, or it's just the financial situations that bring them apart or take them apart.
Absolutely.
It sucks.
Relationships and towing don't tend to work. Get somebody with schedules like yours. Those are all great options. Road Kilwy, I don't know how to pronounce that. They do. Relationship and towing don't tend to work. They can, but trust me, it's relationships. Hey, let's be honest. Relationships are a lot of work to start with. Throw towing in it. Oh, God damn, it's a nightmare, but they can. I've been married. I don't know how many years, but oh shoot, because I know she's watching somewhere.
If you find yourself a woman after you've already been in the towing industry, or the other way around, if you're a woman in the towing industry, if you find your significant other once you're already towing, at least then they know what they're getting into.
That's true.
Right? If you're dating someone for a year or two and then you start towing and you really find a passion for that, and then they come on, or they've already there, but now you're torn. What they're used to or what you want to do, right?
No, absolutely. I met my wife. Our first date was in a tow truck. Our engagement was in a tow truck. Hell, we had a tow truck at our wedding. So she has known what it's been about the whole time. But I want to say it's 4 years married this year, 8 years together. I could be wrong. And
did you have to search that up on Facebook before you said anything?
I might not be able to
enough time to do so.
I might not be able to end this live stream because I'll be afraid to face her if she's listening or watching. So, 18 years as an owner. Yeah. So you've seen the relationship struggles. Absolutely. The responsibility that gets put on owners is unreal. If my phone rang as much as my owner's phone rang, they'd have to take my shoelaces away. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And
If you
then,
can
yeah,
afford the rope.
absolutely. Ryan Jones having kids makes it tougher for sure, too.
Yeah.
Having to juggle work with their schedules. Neither of us have kids. So
Yeah.
Ryan will have to take your word for it, but I can only assume how difficult that would become once you
The
grow.
amount of birthdays and holidays I've ruined for my family now, and
Yeah.
you threw kids into the mix.
Yeah.
I don't know how you guys do it. Kudos
Yeah.
to you.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it either. I don't think I could do it. So all right, so that being said, I think I might have fixed our audio issue. We are going to try. What we're going to do is we're going to take we've got this awesome video from TowSoft. Once it is done, we are going to do the giveaway for the TowSoft. I know I'm skipping G if you're looking at the order, but I don't care. We're going to play the TowSoft video. It's about a little 5-minute video. You guys should watch it. It is great. It is on YouTube. I don't know. TowSoft is a French company out of Quebec is where they started, but they've really brought on some English social media. They're a great bunch. Like I said, I personally use TowSoft. If any of you has used TowSoft, it is great. It is absolutely amazing. Oh, it didn't like my post for some reason. An error occurred.
So,
please try again.
Trent, you've got 6 kids and someone else. What kind of tow truck are you driving, man?
Seriously, no offense, but you can't pull out of a driveway, dude. I mean that with all due respect, Trent. You've been a consistent listener, but goddamn.
What kind of tow truck do you got where you can have 8 passengers or 8 people in the said vehicle and then take customers with you? I want to know what kind of vehicle this is.
That's a long, long tow truck.
Yeah, that's massive wheelbase.
Hey, G, did you know if you star comments, there's a star category up there to remember them later?
Oh, really? I did not know
today.
Learn something new every day.
So I'll try and answer that question. We'll see. G, tell me if you got audio coming across. I'm going to start it. I think it should work. It does start quiet.
There's not a lot of people who really know what it means to
You
be
hear
a tow
it?
truck
You guys hear
operator.
the audio? I'll shut
One
up
sure
if you do.
thing, it ain't your everyday job.
You gotta like put it up there though. You muted yourself.
Technical
There's
difficulty.
not a lot of people who really know what it means to be a tow truck operator.
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
One sure thing, it ain't your everyday job. We're pretty far from working 9 to 5. I wake up before dawn. First coffee drops at 4 a.m. People think we get called for tire changes and boosts most of the time. Yet there's so much horrible stuff happening on the road, and we gotta deal with it. Of course, we've got equipment and technology, but when the call comes in, you gotta be ready. You don't learn roadside recovery in college, but believe me, we know what we're doing. Yeah, when the call comes in, everybody needs to be ready. Hop in the wrecker. No time for second guessing. And when we go out heavy, we know we ain't coming back soon. You just can't describe that feeling when you're heading out. You don't always know what's waiting for you at the end of the road. We just do it. We were trained for that. We were born for that. get on scene, it just hits us every time. I guess you can't get used to working on an accident scene. But we just catch our breath and just get to work. That's when the teamwork kicks in, and when the leaders stand out. I can't imagine doing this without my team. We don't always get it right on the first try, but we're not the type of guys to leave high and dry. Sometimes it feels like running a marathon while playing a chess game. Gotta find a way to clear the road ASAP. People are counting on us to do this. There's not a whole lot of people who really know what it means to be a tow truck operator. Good thing we work with the ones that do. TowSoft. We just know.
Make your building more affordable in 4 easy.
So that is an absolutely awesome video from TowSoft. If you guys haven't seen that before, gives me chills a little bit. I'm not a fan how they upright that tractor trailer. Wasn't as controlled as I would like to see it, but other than that, that video with the bike on the ground, I know you've had experiences. Geez, we've talked about that before with motorcycle accidents and how it hits you and all that kind of stuff. So that video just it gives me the chills.
Yeah, when they brought that video out, or when it surfaced on one of our towing channels last year, I think it was a big thing in the comments of how they did it, right? Like in the video. But it's really, it's just a video to show and to represent, right? It almost seems like they flipped that truck over in the ditch for this purpose. Like this was not.
It wasn't an
still
actual recovery. That was a staged recovery.
Right?
By all means.
So it was staged. They put it in there. They know how to get it out, but it's the concept and the message behind it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to trust the people that you're working with, and you got to make sure that they've got your back and you've got theirs. And that's why TowSoft is so great, because it's so easy to keep everyone organized and know where everyone's going at the same time, right?
Unreal. Like I said, we run TowSoft where we are. I've given you a glimpse of it and showed it. They're tracking, they're billing, they're everything, guys. If you haven't, you can head over to towsoft.ca. They do have trials for your company. Road Kiowili. I still can't pronounce that name. You said you were nowhere near for 18 years. It's worth checking out. I mean,
Roadkill will, I think.
Okay, Roadkill will. The texts come to your phone, to the driver's phone. The driver interface is nice and easy en route. Everything else, there's kind of a lot of adaptability depending on what your business needs are. The folks at TowSoft will work with you, and they are a great supporter of the show. We are working to bring more stuff to the show from them.
Yeah.
So now is that time. Then I will bring it back up onto the screen. I think it's already started.
Roadkill, Wisconsin. Okay.
Roadkill, Wisconsin. Is that actually a town in Roadkill, Wisconsin? That's a real place. So if you guys haven't already, head on over, or sorry, in the chat, hashtag TowSoft. We got it on the bottom of the screen. I'll let you guys start getting entries in. It did register Trey LaFin. It did register his hashtag TowSoft. Keep throwing it in. We will be drawing the $50 Amazon gift card courtesy of the amazing folks over at TowSoft, the ones that made
I don't
that
think we
amazing
actually
video.
told them what the prize was. On the
I did
live
earlier. I hinted
did
at
you?
it earlier. It was on the Facebook. If you missed it, if you aren't following us on Facebook, head on over to at the Towing Life Podcast on Facebook. You'll get that's our main social media that we use is the Facebook. We're trying to get a little more onto TikTok, and you've got the Instagram, and Facebook is the home. We are not up to date with the newer apps that are out there.
No, we're like the 70-year-old men that just prefer Facebook.
Yeah. I don't know what Instagram is. I don't actually. Apparently, I have. My wife likes to send me things over Instagram. And she's like, "Did you see that thing I sent you?" I'm like, "No."
No, I've sent you things on Instagram too, and you've never looked at them. So
I never looked at them because I don't know how. I see notifications on my phone for Instagram, and I just swipe them.
Yeah,
I have no need for it.
but like I've seen what this TowSoft can do with the glimpse that you've given me, and I've worked for companies. The company that we worked for together, the amount of paperwork you would get. So let's say you get a roadside call, you would take the information that you got on their device, you would write it on your own slip, right? You would then hand it into the dispatcher. The dispatcher would write on that slip again. You would file that away, and he would write the total on a separate piece of paper. And there was just so many copies of everything. Most things had 2, 3, 4 copies of everything in that office.
Yep.
But TowSoft, it's all done digitally. If you want to stay paperless, it's so easy to do. I think it would be harder to implement paper in the TowSoft than it would be the otherwise. But you can still scan everything in and put that into TowSoft as well.
You can add photos in for damage claims. We've recently just added in waivers. So when it comes to tire changes or unlocks, if there's any damage waivers you want, and it pulls the customer information, puts it on the waiver, they can sign with their finger on it. It shows up on the invoice with their signature. It emails. We don't use paper invoices anymore. All of our invoices are emailed. You get a customer's email, you send them off the invoice. It's phenomenal. I love it. I love the product. That's not just because they're sponsoring that show. I absolutely love the product. Keep going, guys. We're at hashtag TowSoft. We're gonna get a couple more entries in. We'll give you guys a little bit more time. I do have it up. You guys just
it's a $50 Amazon card. Anyone can use it.
Anyone can use that. They are a Canadian company, so I can only assume it's going to be in Canadian funds. So if you're out of the US, sorry, our dollar is shit. It is what it is. Your stuff is cheaper though, so it kind of works out in the wash.
I guess so.
So we have another 30 seconds.
When you first showed me TowSoft, I was like, wow, this is just insane. The amount of headaches this program can and would relieve from so many people. I personally wish my company had this setup, but I'm not the owner, so I can't make that final call.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is. I think these applications you're seeing, they're slowly becoming more and more and more. We had done a review for a great one that was starting out of Alberta, I believe it was. And you're seeing them more and more. And I think you're going to see them start to take over. It's kind of the new age of towing, right? Things are moving forward. So, all right, 12 entries. Everyone's got a pretty good chance of winning this. I'm pretty confident with that. We have 12 entries in. Going once, going twice. Sold. I don't want Lillian to try and get in the last minute. Lillian got in this time. She's good. All right, we are going to draw. Where does it stop?
Fingers crossed.
I want somebody new. Trent again.
This is not rigged, I swear.
Oh man. All right. So Trent is congratulations, great winner Trent. Tonight. Trent, how long have you been listening to the podcast? This will determine if I actually send you your gift. No, I'm kidding.
This is my first time.
Yeah, that's the first time listening to you guys. I just seen some ad you ran on Facebook and decided it seemed like a good idea to check out. So congratulations to Trent for winning also the $50 Amazon gift card, courtesy, guys, of TowSoft. That is the important part. Wonderful people, TowSoft.ca. Be sure to check them out.
Yeah.
We'll move some things since day one. Wait, when was day one? You tell me when day one was without cheating, and I'll tell you if you're a liar.
Oh, come on.
No, he's got to prove he's been here from day one. I want to hear it. When? Give me the month. How about that? Give me the month.
I don't even know the month.
I did. Oh, I hit the thing. I did. I do. I looked it up the other day when our first podcast was uploaded.
Well, you could do the math. This is what, episode 35?
He cheated. No, Lillian, you don't get it. You're his audiobook. He is going to give you the gift card to read the magazine that he won to him. That's how that should work. You buy the overpriced. Jonathan asked this question. No, I have not. You buy your overpriced Honda neutral override tool yet? For anyone that doesn't know, he said 35 weeks ago. That's wrong because we took a week off. It was 36 weeks ago. But you buy your overpriced Honda neutral override tool yet? If anyone doesn't know, these new Hondas with the push button transmissions, they have I talked about them on a couple shows. I could not find a way to neutral them. Yeah. Honda is the new Apple. And what I mean by this is they created a problem for towers and said, hey, we will sell you the solution. In the form of a neutral release tool that you can rig something up. They're about $300 for this tool from Honda to be able to put their vehicles in neutral whenever the batteries are dead or whenever they won't start. It is crazy.
You brought up Apple there. Apparently, Apple had the bright idea of changing their already unique charging cable, where it had a USB on one side and the actual charging port on the other, to 2 unique chargers on each side.
I don't think so. I thought everyone was going USB-C.
Yeah, everyone is little mini oval USB-C, but they're not using the USB anymore.
No, everything's going just full USB-C. That is the new general. Every phone will have that.
I didn't know that.
You're new to the show. August 8th, Brandon Frazier, Trey LaFin also said 35 weeks ago, and Trey LaFin, you of all people should know, and you were incorrect. It was 36 weeks ago. We took a week off on the holidays. It was August 8th. Yeah. It was August 8th. Trent says the Honda Pilots. Yep, that's the one we're talking about. The Honda Pilots. They also have them on the new Honda Odysseys, if I'm not mistaken. These weird transmissions. I call them the Apple transmissions.
Huh. Drag the bitch.
Just drag the bitch. Honda didn't even know. You know what? Okay, perfect point. And this is scary about manufacturers. Honda didn't even know they existed. Had to get them to look it up. I was the same. I called my local Honda dealer and they could not find a part number and had never really heard of it. He actually referred me to the Honda USA website to get the tool. So the hell with these Honda push button transmissions. They're awesome.
Whatever happened to Honda being the people's car? They're definitely not the tower's car.
I don't mind towing Hondas. The Accords have gotten pretty low. They're a little tough sometimes. Yeah. When it comes to towing, and we've talked about it before, what do you use for wire rope? That has always been a debate going around the industry. Wire rope, synthetic rope, or steel rope. And I know steel rope comes with a fiber core. It comes with different core options. But are you guys running the steel or the synthetic rope? And I will pull up a slide in a little bit on the screen so you guys can get an idea on what we're talking about and different ratings and everything. I know I've talked about them before. Trey LaFin, I can't keep saying that name. I also listen on Spotify every Tuesday. I love these guys. I know he's not using his real name. That's why I can't keep saying it. I look forward to it every week. Hell, my family loves it now. We even have the live streaming on the 75-inch TV right now.
Oh no, we're not supposed to be viewed in that many inches. Okay?
Yeah, I do not look good at that resolution, Trent.
We do appreciate it though, guys. We really do.
Steel core, 7/16 100-foot wire rope on my flatbed. So you're talking the steel rope as well. Yeah. Has anyone here tried the synthetic? Gee, have you actually ever tried the synthetic other than the
one time at your shop, and I've got it on my four-wheeler? I like it on my four-wheeler, but once again, I'm not pulling big weights with it.
No. We run the synthetic rope on our flatbeds, on all of our flatbeds. All of our flatbeds run it. The record does not. Except for our one Dodge flatbed, it doesn't. My customers have to listen to it. God damn it. Yeah, I've seen that comment come up. So if you guys haven't, an interesting thing to look at, and I managed to pull some photos from BA products right from their website. So I pulled up the synthetic and I pulled up the wire rope. What I'll do is, I don't know if it'll kill it too much. We'll lose a bit of the plus minus, but it'll give you a better resolution. Trent on his 75-inch TV might be the only one that can read this. So to give you an idea, we'll compare 3/8 to 3/8 is what I've done to make it apples to apples. 3/8, 100-foot, 4,100 pound working load limit. You go over to a wire rope assembly with a swivel hook with fiber core. So again, very similar, apples to apples, with the fiber core, 100-foot, 3780 working load limit. So you've got about a 400 pound, 300 and some pound working load limit additional with the synthetic rope on the same size rope.
Yeah.
What's kind of interesting, and they don't really show it on there, is the weight of these two things. Because you pulled out that synthetic rope.
Oh yeah.
It weighs nothing. 100-foot weighs 7 pounds.
Yeah.
100-foot spool that weighs 7 pounds. This stuff is amazing to work with. Now, just like anything, there's pros and there's cons to it, right? When you get into synthetic rope, the pros are it's got a higher working load limit for the same size. It's lightweight and it's workability, meaning you're not kinking this rope. You're not doing all those weird things, getting wrapped up on things and caught and kinked and everything else. Downside of it, it is very easy to cut and nick. You have to be more careful when working with it. So if you do a lot of scrap hauling, you do all that kind of stuff, you got to be a little more careful, right? And don't get me wrong, there's advantages to the fiber core, the steel wire rope, right? You got more resistant to all your stuff, cuts, weather, everything. It's cheaper. I'd like to get a price. I wasn't able to get a price before the show for both of them.
Yeah.
And the length options, it's more available. So you can get different setups that you need. Where you go on BA's website right now, the only thing they're really offering is 50 or 100. You don't have the 75 feet, the 56 feet, the 100 feet, you know what I mean? You're limited on your options.
Yeah.
But the cons is workability. And until you've ran a synthetic rope on a flatbed, I tell you guys, it is. And side pullers aren't an issue. Snatch blocks aren't an issue. It runs just like your steel wire rope would, but I mean, it's more expensive. If you take care of it, it'll last, and I find it nice to work with.
I think, don't get me wrong, I do really like the pros to the synthetic rope, but the easily cut, and that's the issue, is if you snap your braided cable, you can, if you know what you're doing, you can take your hook off or have a spare hook, and you can rehook it there if you've got a vise and one of the clamps, right? With a rope, tie a knot. Hopefully your knot skills are good, but it's not fitting back through your shiv head, right? And I'm not sure if you can tie a knot around the hook itself.
No, you can actually resplice those just like you can the steel cores.
Can
and
you?
You would never know that. Yeah, we've had to do it a couple times. Our boss is trained on, knows how to do it, and I mean, it's just as strong, and you wouldn't even be able to tell that you fixed it.
I think it's definitely a new thing in the industry, and
it's becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, more and more people are jumping on the wagon for it, which is good. I think it is a good product. I've used it, like I said before, on my 4-wheelers, and I do like it. But you get a lot of these steering wheel holders in the industry, and once you get into, it's almost like, I want to call it a single use, right? You use it more than once, but it's a single use thing. Like, it's, if you break it, it's pretty much broken, right? It's easier to break. You don't have the longevity, I think, if it gets abused, right? If you take care of it like you should, you'll be fine, right? It's just we've all got that one operator, who isn't really
doesn't give a shit.
Yeah, they just don't give a shit. And every time you get back into your truck, after they've used it, your winch cable's all bird's nested and shit's not back the way it was, stuff like that. And those operators, or drivers, I should say, will ruin the synthetic rope experience for you. Where if you're in a company like PlainGuy, and most, if not all, I want to say, your operators give a shit and actually care, the wire rope will last a little bit longer. But It's having the right tools for the job that you are in. In some companies, you might be better off sticking with the wire rope.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, no, 100%. I know even local companies here in town, I would hate to see what they would do with synthetic rope when you see things that they're doing. And, you know, I'm not one to put down operators. They're doing the best they can with the tools they have. But at the same time, there is, you know, you see things go that kind of make you cringe a little bit when you're
We've
watching.
all had to run that steel cable over the side of the bed once before, right? We
No,
hate
we
to do it.
haven't. They're called side pullers and snatch blocks. And, you know, I thought you were going to mention the J-hook snatch block. Oh my God, that one hurts. When I see guys doing that, that makes me cringe. If you have ever used a J-hook for a snatch block, I do not criticize operators, but unless it was an absolute emergency with somebody trapped in the vehicle and you had no other tools, you have a special place in my heart that I won't tell you about.
Yeah, like I personally have always used the steel, the wire rope with the fiber core, and I've liked it. Yeah, you get the odd little fray here and there, but that's just what I'm used to, right? It's like riding a bike, right? It's what you're used to. In change, no one ever really likes change, but if you bite the bullet, equip one of your flatbeds, one of your more experienced operators with this, and give him a month. Get his feel on it after a month, whether he likes it or not, right? And go from there.
The synthetic rope is also nice for the energy that it carries in case of a break, right? The fiber cores are pretty good, right? The fiber core does absorb and loses a lot of the energy upon snap. That's why I think a lot of them, they're pretty common nowadays and more popular, but the synthetic rope has even less. Yeah. And so when that line breaks, and if you've ever heard a line sing, I know you have, and I've heard them sing, when they let go, it is like a gunshot. With the synthetic rope, I have broken one. I broke one not long ago. I have no problem admitting it. It was actually, we broke the winch. That was a weird scenario that we haven't fully, the winch has been sent off to get diagnosed. We think we came up with the problem. It wasn't actually operator error, thankfully. I would have taken responsibility if it was, but I mean, when that thing snapped, it did not carry the energy that you would get out of those steel core, those fiber core. And, you know, so at the same time, maybe it is better for the steering wheel holders, because if they're out there snapping them, you're not going to have a workers' comp claim on your hands at the same time. It's going to give them a little slap in the face instead of taking their head clean off.
Now, see, I really like the kinetic rope, so I really don't know what I'm kind of leery about the synthetic rope. Like the kinetic rope, if you've ever watched Bleep and Jeep or Matt's Off-Road Recovery or any of those guys, it's a rope, but it's like a bungee cord, right? So you do a lot of snap pulls, right? You drive forward, you got that kinetic energy, and you've pretty much tripled your pulling capacity when that rope extends and then condenses back on itself. And I really like those. I've got one myself. I've used it a couple of times, and it's just absolutely
but those
amazing.
Are recovery. You're not using those on tow trucks.
No, but I'm saying that I really like that rope, so I don't.
So you think
why.
the synthetic would be a similar, except that it doesn't stretch? It actually does stretch when you first load it. Yeah. That's the problem where I see Roadkill Wisconsin. That's what it is. It's never operator error. Yes, it is. This case here, it was actually when the rope was first loaded onto the spool, it wasn't loaded under tension, so it didn't stretch out. So the bottom layer, when we started to put pressure on one of the upper layers, it crunched the bottom layer down, which expanded it out because it wasn't stretched out yet. And it actually cracked the side of the drum on the winch and ended up cutting. The winch got caught in it and cut the winch cable at the same time and sent it flying.
I'd call that operator error. Whoever wound up that winch the first time, you told me
the manufacturer on our brand new tow truck wound it up for the first time.
That was one of the first things that you told me about these synthetic ropes is you have to, the first time you need to put them under a good load.
Yeah, and they
up
actually
to that
stretch
working
and
load limit.
squish down.
You've got to pull it to just so it stretches out.
Yeah, so that was a brand new winch on a truck with about 5,000 kilometers on it at that time.
And you also forgot to put in the pros there for the synthetic rope is that it floats.
It does float on water if you do a lot of water recovery. If you do a lot of water recovery, you're really going to want it. Andrew also points out that you can't use a synthetic rope on a drum made out of cast, and that is because of the pressure of what I understand that is being put on the drum. So
Smart
you
guy.
need, yeah, that guy knows a thing or two about
We've
winches.
had
and
Andrew
synthetic.
on the show before, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
He's the colorblind strawberry picker.
Yes, the colorblind strawberry picker. The guy with all the camo trucks.
So no, but like I said, I've used both. I'm a big fan of the synthetic rope. If you haven't, check it out for yourself. Yeah. Other than that, so we've had our giveaways, TowSoft, Tow Canada magazine. Good day, gents. Keep it up. Thank you. Absolutely. TowSoft, Tow Canada magazine, giving away the giveaways. We've got Trent with 2 wins today for prizes. So thanks, Trent, for coming out.
The
You're
next
leaving a
live
happy
stream
man.
we do, if we have giveaways, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to slow your roll a little
Yeah,
bit.
Trent's not allowed to win any more giveaways. We're not sure if this is something that we're going to do every once in a while. We want to hear back from you guys. We want to see what the feedback is like. Ideally, I'm thinking we do something like this every 2-3 months. We're still going to have our regular shows every week, but a little side thing to do on the fun. You guys have been great coming out. We've really appreciated it 100%.
Oh, this is fun.
So, G, that being said, why don't you take us out?
Oh, wow. Okay, put me on the spot.
I love doing that. I do it on the recordings and in person. It's great.
Yeah, it's like we're just having this nice flow, and you're like, take us out. Oh, okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming out here for the live stream. It's been absolutely amazing. I know I've had tons of fun here. I hope you guys have had tons of fun. Kudos to you guys who have won. It's definitely been a blast. We will be re-airing this on Tuesday. So if you've missed any part, feel free to check us back out on Tuesday. And you can reach us in all the places and let us know what you thought about the live stream and if we want to do it again. So with that said, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next week. Toodles!
Take care.